Okay, so the first thing is the authors who are not doing textbooks, who are struggling to publish, to get publishers, traditional publishers, to take on their work. Most of the traditional publishers we have deal with textbooks because basically that's where the money is, you know. The government calls for people to bid to supply textbooks, you know, to publish and supply textbooks on behalf of the government to government schools. The curriculum is reviewed probably every 5 years, I think. So I don't know if it's still that. So every 5 years or so, there's an opportunity to, you know, bid to have a book you've published become part of the curriculum. And when it becomes part of the curriculum, the government will buy it and distribute it to schools all over the country. And even parents will buy you know, those books for their children because everybody wants their children to pass exams. So all the traditional publishers who can afford it will go in that direction. So then the whole culture of people will only buy books because they have to pass exams, not because people read for leisure as much as they should, or even those who do want to read for leisure may not afford books. You know, it's that disposable income that can be spent on just books for fun, for leisure is a bit, you know, compared to, for example, a DVD movie of 2,000 shillings that you rent out, and then a book at 25,000 or 50,000. So that left a lot of authors of non-academic books or non-curricular books struggling because they take their books to the traditional publishers and you know, the publishers are thinking they're not going to get that much money out of it, you know, soon. So they might not pay attention. It will probably take 7 years, you know, whereas it could have taken 2 years for the book to come out. And even when it does, it's not benefiting the publishers so much. So they might not put as much effort, you know, into marketing those books and all that. Yes. So that was the struggle that a lot of them are having. So a lot of them have to self-publish. They have to pay for the publishing process themselves. But a lot don't know what is actually involved in that. So that's where you have people writing their books, taking it to NASA Road. I don't know if you've heard of NASA Road in Uganda, where all the printing is done. And the book is printed, you know, just to a cover, no editing, no thought about really how creative the cover should be or proper graphics and layout and all that. So you come out with a shoddy book, but a lot of authors didn't know how it could be done better, or, you know, the professional process to have a really good book out that can compete on the international market. So that's the gap that Scribe House now came in to fill, because I was a freelance editor at the beginning. So people began to, especially people who wanted to sell their books internationally, they would get feedback about the content and then would be advised to look for an editor. So with all the recommendations, a lot of people would recommend me. So they'd come and I'd edit their work, but then end up giving them advice on designing, you know, the layout, on marketing, on printing, you know, even just basics as the type of paper and all that, and things like that. So they would go back now with a full package, like, a whole idea of how their book can be done, produced well, and can compete with, you know, the international market. Yeah, so that was the gap. That was the challenge. And I think it's still the challenge, because even now with the self-publishers, a lot can't afford to pay for the whole process. Even some may manage to pay for the editing and design and all that, but then when it comes to the printing, it's really a lot of money. So it's still a bit of a challenge. Yeah, but Scribe House also is not yet able to be a full-fledged traditional publisher. For the same reasons, we still have a lot to do to bridge the gap between the market and the authors, so that it also becomes, you know, profitable. So right now, it's more like a consultancy or helping self-publishers to produce really, really good books.